Hello, and welcome to the games like Hearthstone.
The Elder Scrolls Legends. For Hearthstone player, this game at first sight is a total ripoff of Hearthstone. You have increasing mana, arena costs the same amount of money, also uses similar damage and combat mechanics, so you'll be right at home just in the Elder Scrolls universe instead of Warcraft's. But there are some differences. Legends separates its playing field into two lanes that rarely interact with each other. It also has a rune system that lets you draw a free card for every 5 health you lose, so planning here is really important. Star Crusade. This fast-paced collectible card game is unique in the one way. It's science fiction that is rarity among this genre. It has clever introduction to the card concepts, has interesting takes on classic mechanics such as armor and firepower. Each class plays differently and the class cards are hugely different. Playing through the early game gives you lots of boosters to really give you a chance, but sometimes it's hard for new player to be matched against an opponent of the same power level. Sometimes you will get opponents that are way higher level than you are, and then you just get crushed. And if you really want to play competitively and do not like to be crushed, you have to pay for your cards. So this may be expensive game for you, but hey, it's science fiction. Eternal, another game from creators of Elder Scrolls Legends, and it also looks and feels like Hearthstone in practice, but it has some interesting mechanics like instant cards that can be played on your opponent's turn, mana cards with specific colors for each faction, decks with any number of faction mix, and declaring which of your minions will attack first and then letting your opponent choose their blockers. The main thing is that Eternal has managed to make all those things really quick and satisfying. Also, here you can get new cards easier than in Hearthstone, making this game more skill and not luck based. Also, it has mobile client, so you can play while traveling, during sex or while making crimes. Hex Shards of Fate. This is practically Magic the Gathering Digital Edition, because it plays exactly like Magic but has much better client and play experience than any other Magic game, making it fantastic choice for Magic fans. It has amazing campaign and gigantic market to trade and sell cards, but if you want to go full mode PvP, you better have the money. Yes, real money, because PvE cards do not work in PvP, and there is no free way to earn PvP cards, unless you want to spend days grinding free currency to hopefully find someone stupid willing to trade that for premium currency. It's not like Hearthstone, where there is only one type of currency and what you can earn can be used to buy anything. So, fun game but expensive. Infinity Wars. It's a game with familiar combat mechanics to Hearthstone, with the added depth of being able to swap your units around in different zones, so you could change the order of the units in your offensive zone, or swap a stronger unit in your defensive zone if your opponent is about to pull something big. It's also faster, because players do their turns simultaneously, meaning that there are less waiting and more playing, except there isn't. Game is almost dead. Sometimes you have to wait 30 minutes for your next opponent, and I do not consider this as playable. Well, maybe someday it will resurrect from a dead, because it was really nice game to play, but now it's not worth it. Faeria. It's like a mix of Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone and a board game. Not only you can build decks, but you have to carefully think about where you place your lands. It adds a lot of depth to the game. Among other good things are free arena run every day and great, just amazing music. Also, graphics are really nice. Animations, art, everything feels at the top level. Game offers adventure mode, tutorial, puzzles, PvP, arena. Well, you will find everything you will need. Hardest part is to be a new player, as always, because getting cards requires a lot of grinding. Well, it's something like in Hearthstone, right? But overall reviews on Steam are very positive, so don't be shy, go and download it. Shadowverse. Well, developers of this game managed to piss off their players. I was astounded by amounts of negative reviews in Steam Power posted by persons with more than 3, 4, 500 or even thousands of hours of playtime. What was the reason? What terrible mistakes were made that killed big chunk of their own fanbase? It seems that Cygames released some expansions and those limited play options big time. People didn't like that. Also, they are not nerfing broken cards quick enough, meaning that ladder is filled with cancer decks. Remember Quest Rogue in Hearthstone? There, it's the same feeling, just bigger. Okay, but is there any good things in this game? Yes, there is. New players seems to love it. Some even say that they fap during this game. Well, I have to agree that there is so much more fapping material than in Hearthstone. Do I recommend it? Not fapping, a game. I do not. All that anime concept is silly for me. I am 33-year-old European man and all that little girl stuff is just ugh. Give me beardy Vikings, sexy medieval prostitutes, vodka with herring, not this shit. So go play Faeria or Eternal instead. Or play this if you want. I will not judge, I will love you anyway. Gwent. This is a real deal. Card game that is actually different from Hearthstone in every way. If you played The Witcher Wild Hunt, you know what I'm talking about, but if you didn't, then let me explain. This is as much a deck building game as it is strategy game, simply because it has 3 rounds. It means that you usually have to lose one to win other 2. And it's where your true skill of a card player can be really shown off. Game has 5 really different factions and a lot of crazy mechanics, because there are 3 types of cards to play: close combat, rangers and siege weapons. All of those rarely interact with each other, so if you suspect your enemy having large siege army, you better be prepared to counter it with the anti-siege cards. Game is really good. I had tons of fun with it, but it also requires you to grind. Well, or spend real money. Nobody wants that. So, I do recommend this game for you if you have a lot of free time or a lot of money. Duelyst. It's a combination of Hearthstone and Final Fantasy Tactics. The combat and card mechanics is almost the same as in Hearthstone, but you summon your units onto 5x9 grid where they can move around each turn. It also has interesting replace mechanic that lets you mulligan one of your cards every turn. That is really fun. Not fun part is that many of old players accuses Bandai Namco as being greedy. We all know what that means. Pay to win. Or be a slug for a long time and suck as hard as you can before rising to the top. But I'm not saying anything. Best way to find out everything is to go and read the comments on Steam. Chronicle Runescape Legends. This is an unexpected and totally fresh take on competitive collectible card games. Based around the Runescape MMO, Chronicle manages to take pretty standard CCG mechanics and make them feel more like an RPG quest than a card game. Every match is spread across 5 maps, each letting you play 4 cards. You place those cards in a set order in front of you, while your opponent does the same. It is a very interesting game, but it faces real problem. Developers had abandoned it only after 5 months of maintenance. All in all, the result? Game is dying. Not many people are playing it, and while time passes, even fewer will remain, but it's still playable, so try it while you can.
That's it, thank you for watching, and there is a great orb of subscribing. Please press it, it will help me a lot.